Hi all, today PhoneArena is reviewing the Samsung Wave 533. It's the first handset with Samsung's own operating system bada that also has a physical keyboard. As you can see, it's identical to the keyboard on the Samsung i5510 that we reviewed recently, just the coloring of the letters is different. And also the specifications are identical to the Samsung Wave 525, the first low-range bada operating system phone that we reviewed also recently. These specs are 3.2-inch screen with 240 by 400 pixels of resolution. Pretty low, everything looks jagged on this screen because of the resolution. Otherwise, in terms of viewing angles and outdoors visibility, the screen is above average for a TFT LCD screen, that is. Below the capacitive touch screen are the typical for bada handsets, 3 physical buttons, send and end key, and the one in the middle for the main menu, which are easy to press. The rest of the buttons and ports are located in the keyboard half. The volume rocker on the left, standard audio jack and micro USB port on the top, and on the right are the lock power key, which is pretty small and not very easy to find, probably to prevent accidentally turning off the phone. And the camera key, which is one stage for the 3 megapixel camera on the back. But let's have a look at the physical keyboard, which is the main selling point of this otherwise ho-hum bada handset. It doesn't even have 3G, only H speeds and Wi-Fi that you'll be browsing with. We were very much satisfied with the keyboard. There's deep enough travel to the keys, the spacing in between them is good enough, and there's predictive text input, as you can see. So soon after acquiring this handset, your fingers are dancing around the keyboard, typing pretty fast. All in all, we have no complaints about it. It's the same one that we found on the Samsung i5510, which is a handset with Android, but the only differences between this keyboard and the other keyboard are the coloring of the letters and some symbols here. There's the arrows for moving the cursor here, which is very helpful on a touch screen. And all in all, we were very satisfied with the keyboard on the Wave 533. We even found it a little bit easier to type than the one we reviewed on the HTC Desire Z, which is a handset of a much higher class. Let's have a look at the interface now quickly. The TouchWiz 3.0 interface on bada 1.1 we reviewed extensively when we had a look at the Samsung Wave 723, so you may check it out for a reference. We just want to show you what we did then. That's the social networking integration in the Contacts application. Basically, it aggregates your Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, even your colleagues would exchange accounts here. For example, you can check the social networking activities straight from the Contacts application. Your history of communication with this contact, their activities, the media they've uploaded, etc. The only difference with the social networking integration here and on Samsung's Android handsets is that on this resolution everything looks much more basic, and there are no, of course, Gmail contacts integration. That's the Twitter feed of one of our contacts, our site. See, scrolling is not extremely smooth. So let's have a look how it is in the browser. Scrolling in the browser is not very smooth again, what we experience in the interface. As you can see, it's a bit choppy, although the page has loaded completely. Multi-touch as well is not very smooth. Double tap works alright. Also, the browser doesn't support Flash properly. Of course, only flashlight is present, so you'll be able to see Flash-based ads, but not much else. It looks much better and feels much better on the Samsung Wave with its high-end specs, but here on this basic bada handset, browsing is just basic. To recap our experience with the Samsung Wave 533, we gotta say that it left a positive impression with us. The physical keyboard is pretty decent. We found the same one in the Samsung i5510, which already means good enough with deep key travel and enough spacing between the keys to allow quick typing once you get used to it. And for a handset with a physical keyboard, it's a very rich thickness, it's very light, easy to hold, comfortable in the hand. The only gripe we have is the low resolution 3.2-inch screen, which is found on the whole Wave family after the first Samsung Wave, of course. Otherwise, as a screen, it's pretty decent in terms of brightness and viewing angles. To the negatives, such as a low screen resolution, which mainly affects browsing, we have to add not that rich codec support. For example, Samsung handsets we used to see supporting XV80 and DivX codecs, but this is not present here on the Wave 533. We gotta point out some positives. For example, the volume of the voices and clarity in the earpiece and the speaker were very good for a low-range handset. There's also this surround sound mode in the headset when listening to music. The bada operating system offers all the basic functionalities we used to. It adds some nice additional functions such as image and video editing and music recognition, song recognition straight from the music player. But it's not up to par with what we find in Android, for example, mainly in terms of apps. There are a little bit more than 500 applications for this handset, but it cannot be compared to Android, for example, which has more than 100,000. So if flexibility of apps is your thing, you'd better have a look at the Samsung i5510, which has absolutely the same keyboard as this one and is running Android. If Symbian is your thing, then the very basic Nokia 5210 you might have a look at. It's a touchscreen only and doesn't have 3G and is also pretty cheap. A little bit more expensive is the Nokia C6, which has a physical keyboard as well, but bumps up the specs to 5-megapixel camera with LED flash, and might be, as we said, more expensive than this handset. This was a video review of the Samsung Wave 533 from PhoneArena.